Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita series. We will continue with chapter 14. We will start with Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. We will get started with chapter 14, or we will continue chapter 14. Let me share the screen again. Okay, we'll continue with chapter 14. So, the three modes of material nature. So, we discussed the essence or the significance of this chapter in great detail last time, and then we covered the first 4 verses in great detail. Today, we will cover the majority of the chapter, if not complete the chapter today. But we will have a very short, not a very short, but a fairly short class today. I have to end at 6 o'clock Pacific time because we have a program at 6:30. So I have to end at 6 sharp. So we covered the essence that Prakriti or material nature has been discussed, but not in great detail so far. So now Lord Krishna wants to discuss material nature, and he will discuss it at its most fundamental building block level, which are known as gunas, and the laws that govern them. And when we understand how material nature works, we can understand that how one gets entangled in it, and therefore how to get out of that entanglement. So when we understand how we are bound, then we can unbind ourselves. Just like if you know how the knot is tied, many times you can untie the knot if you know how exactly it was tied. The goal is to get out of this material nature. This chapter will also tell us what is the best material platform that will allow us to get out of this material nature. So, there are three fundamental states of material nature: sattva, rajas, and tamas. And we will discuss this in more detail, but we have already discussed it to a good extent in the Bhagavad Gita so far. But so the best state to get out of this entanglement of material nature is the sattva guna, known as the mode of goodness. So while we are in the material world, if we try to progress from wherever we are, whether it is rajas or tamas, or even with the mode of goodness or sattva guna, we should continue or try to continue to go beyond or ahead and ahead. So these three are not very binary or quantum states. They are more analog in nature. They are not digital. So within a given state, sattva guna, also there are further gradations. So one can continue to make progress even in each of these states, continue to make forward progress. At the very end of the chapter, what will be explained is that the best process for getting out of these material modes or the entanglement is bhakti yoga. So that will come towards the very end. Then in the first 4 verses, Lord Krishna explains that how the jiva is entangled. So I'm not going to go over that again, that we discussed in great detail. Yeah. So the summary is how the jiva entered the material world and how it got entangled by its interaction with the material world or material nature. So we also discussed this analogy with bhakti, that how we say in bhakti, we can get more and more entangled in bhakti, which is a good thing. So entanglement is, I'm using as a good kind of entanglement in bhakti, but the process is the same of entanglement in material nature. It all starts with sanga and then absorption of that sanga. So we had a discussion on sanga a little bit. What is really sanga? If we are not absorbing that sanga, then it is not sanga. So when we just meet people in a bus or a train and we don't get influenced by them, they're just co-travelers. We may talk to them, oh, weather is nice or whatever, this or that. Sanga really means to absorb, to unke rang mein ramna, to begin to pick up their color. That is sanga. So as long as one is not picking up their color, you may have physically be in the sanga, but that is not called sanga. Sadhu sanga is also like that. Many times, including myself, we be in sadhu sanga, but we don't pick up their color, or we don't even try. So what is the point of sadhu sanga? You can say, I did 4 hours of sadhu sanga today. It may mean 4 hours of physical association, but mental association may not have occurred if you have not really tried to pick up their association or pick up their color. So that is very important. That is the meaning of sanga, really. So we take sanga with material nature. I just want to say a little bit more on this, that recently somebody asked a question to somebody that why are we so easily, let me see if I can phrase the question, and it's an important point which I wanted to share. Why are we so easily prone to bad association, whereas we are so not prone, or why is it so hard to absorb good association? Is it our design that we take bad association more readily? Has God inherently created us to take bad association more readily? Then it's like, we are biased, or we are prone to fail. I hope you are following the question. And the answer is no, that is not the case. We have become so conditioned to take bad association that bad association, or wherever we see it, we are immediately attracted to it. Whereas there is good association, but we don't feel attracted to it. So it appears that bad association by design is more attractive. No, it is more attractive to us. That is one point. The second point is, in today's material world, obviously there is bad association is abundant. And when I say bad association, it doesn't just mean very bad people, but material association. Wherever you look around, television, the stores, the shops, malls, everything is prone to bad association. I was seeing a newspaper article, or a opinion in some Indian newspaper in, I forget which one. And in a small village, they had just shown a picture of a billboard in a small town in India. It was for something very simple or pious as natural foods, something like that, in the domain of natural foods, how natural or organic food should be consumed. So very pious mode of goodness product. But on the ad was a very skinly clad lady, girl. So what was being said is that, that how we are, the point of that picture in that opinion ad, or that op-ed, was everything is being sensualized in today's world. Even something very healthy or promoting a good lifestyle is being promoted in a sensualized way. That is the nature of today's world. We are surrounded by that, and instead of thinking, the attention, instead of going towards the sattvic mode, immediately goes towards rajasic or tamasic. And the advent of Facebook and the smartphones in our hands, in our palm, has not helped. It has only exacerbated the situation. So imagine being in the association, or imagine living in a very holy place, a pious place, with no such bad association around. It'll be, I would imagine it's much harder to devolve towards, from sattva to rajas and from rajas to tamas. It's much harder to go down that vicious cycle. So the world has been arranged like that today already. So in that sense, and who has arranged the world? It's all of us, the people, the society, which en masse, as a mass, is devolving downwards from sattva to rajas to tamas. So we happen to live in this world, and we make certain choices to live in metropolitan cities, in the West. I mean, India is not getting any much better. It's also the same. The number of places where mode of goodness is in the air, is in the surroundings, is going down and down and down, is reducing. And we choose to live in this kind of a lifestyle. I was personally having a discussion with somebody I regard very well, very highly, that how about going and living in Vrindavan. And I was just thinking and discussing how hard it is to do that. Electricity is not there, air conditioning will not be there, summers are very hot, winters are very cold. We're just used to this material conditioning, and then we choose to live in places where there is bad association all around, and then we say that the odds are stacked against us. So we have to realize that it has been our long journey into stacking the odds against ourselves. It's not a bad design by Krishna, or he is not unfair in that sense. So we discussed all some of this, and I just wanted to share this point. So, okay, so then we come to 14.5, where we discussed that the world is made up of these three gunas, which are sattva, rajas, and tamas. And guna means quality and also means rope, or a tiny segment of a rope. And by constant association with the gunas, we lengthen the rope. And the more we lengthen the rope, the more we bind ourselves in it. So that is the meaning of guna. So we discussed mode of goodness. It binds one to happiness, sukha. Mode of passion, it binds one to fruitive activities. And tamas, or mode of ignorance, it binds one to madness, pramad, laziness, alasya, and sleep. So what is the essence? So I created these two slides fresh this year. Well, I created all these slides last year only, but these two are fresh this year. So please pay attention to this part, and it should help in understanding the essence of the three gunas. Okay. If you can understand this, it will be very nice to understand the overall concept of the three gunas. So, what are the three gunas? They are the three fundamental building blocks of material conditioning or material nature. Material nature sounds more like things or objects, like I have this bottle of water. It's material nature. It's made up of whatever, plastic and H2O, water. So, but more importantly for us, what is important for the gunas for us is the conditioning. The body, our body is also material nature, but that is the same. Your body, my body is almost the same, made up of blood, bones, flesh, whatever. It's not much different. What makes each of us different, other than facial, face and whatever, shape and whatever, is our behavior, our conditioning, our qualities. That's what really makes each person different from the other, essentially. That's how we base our relationships, our friendships, and our social life, our society, everything is based on our behavior, our likings, culture, all those things, much more than the body. Of course, there is body and color, which has been the cause of many wars and conflicts, but largely it has also been not just because of the color of the skin, but our conditioning, what faith we believe in. That is actually the number one cause of all wars, not just color, but what faith we believe in. And then next, culture, tradition, etc. So that is a very important aspect of who we are. So that is the guna, but also the rope. We continuously keep getting conditioned in this. So both the meanings of guna are very appropriate. So there are three fundamental building blocks: sattva, rajas, and tamas. The important part to understand is all three cause binding to material conditioning. So the more we associate, and remember the meaning of association or sanga, the more we absorb, the more we relish being in a specific mode, the more we continue to get bound or entangled in that kind of behavior or that kind of conditioning. And that is very normal. Even, you don't need Bhagavad Gita to teach you that. The more you smoke, the more you get addicted to it. The successful people, the more they are successful, they get addicted to success. And it is seen in today's world. You don't need Bhagavad Gita to understand that. And the modes are a dynamic mix of the three fundamental gunas within a person, which gives rise to varied behavior and conditioning. So I will cover later, just like, the three colors RGB, you can mix them in various proportions to get all the possible millions and billions of colors. But at the root, there are three very specific individual colors. The other aspect in our case is the time factor. Within a person, at a certain time, one may feel more sattvic. At a certain time, one may feel more rajasic or tamasic. So also this plays a role. But one can say that most of the time one is in this kind of or has a predominance of a particular kind of mode or a guna. So all this is highly relative and it is dynamic. And in some, there is more predominance of one than the other. And for most of the time, and for some time, even a very bad person, badly behaved person may behave nicely at some time, or vice versa. So an easy way to understand, I was reading many different books and I found this a very easy way to understand the three gunas. So how do we understand the three gunas in a fairly easy way? So first of all, we all know that material desires or raga, attachments, we call raga as attachments, but desires and attachments are kind of very close to each other. From attachments come desires, and from desires that get fulfilled come attachments. So material desires are the root cause of all material problems and conditioning. Let's I think we all can agree on that. So what is sattva guna? Sattva guna means to give up material desires. The tendency to give up material desires. That one realizes that these are just material desires and I give them up. But what it results in, the result is long-term happiness. Because when you give up material desires, because material desires only give rise to more material desires, lobha, or krodha, when they are not fulfilled. Either you want more, or you get angry if you don't get it. And to some extent also bhaya, fear of losing it. But one day it will be lost. Everything material has a extinction or a expiry date. So when it is lost, you feel sad, you feel angry, and you feel fearful of losing it while you still have it. So best is to not have material desires. It creates long-term happiness. And this is also, you don't again need Bhagavad Gita to tell you. They say, keep your expectations low, then you will be happy. That's another way of saying have minimal or no expectations and you will be a very happy person. So that is Sattva Guna. So that is give up material desires for long-term happiness. Rajas is fulfill material desires. I have material desires and I will fulfill them. And fulfill them by working hard or whatever it takes. Typically, not whatever it takes by, that will come to the tamas, by some kind of violence or illegal criminal activities. Some kind of criminal activities may also fall in rajas, but very gross criminal activities may fall in tamas. But somehow or the other, that deep hankering, and then that leads to very strong actions. Some people work 16, 18 hours a day. That's a strong action. Some people may commit some or undertake some shortcuts, bribery or other kind of illegal activities also could fall under this category of rajas, that strong hankering. Somehow or the other, by hook or by crook, I will fulfill my material desires. That leads to short-term happiness. Why short-term? Because those things that you obtain have an expiry date, and when they are lost, it leads to trouble. Or if you have gone to great extent to obtain them, then you feel that it is there is more attachment to it, and it leads to more pain when that goes, because the ROI equation is highly tilted towards the I, towards the investment. You put more and more and more and more investment to gain that same amount of return. And all that time that is one is investing, time and energy, where is the time to enjoy or relish that outcome, that result? So there's a deep hankering to fulfill material desires, but it leads to short-term happiness. And tamas is to disregard material desires or falsify, or in some sense eliminate material desire, which is not the same as giving up. Giving up means consciously giving up. This means to just completely forget it by sleep. If you have to, you haven't studied the whole semester, tomorrow is the exam, now there is deep panic, then you say that, okay, I'll fail, it's okay, I just won't study, and you just go to sleep. Or procrastinate throughout the semester, or take drugs or something, artificial illusion, that is somehow give yourself the feeling of happiness. So the result is false happiness, or you can say immediate happiness. Right now, just in this moment, you forget your troubles. You completely forget your troubles, and that is called tamas. Or forget your whatever you have got yourself into. So a completely, you kind of like a person who has no material desires, not the same as sattva, but completely somebody who is not even making any forward progress in his life. So these are the sort of, I thought this is a nice way to understand the three modes: give up material desires versus fulfilling material desires versus disregarding or falsifying material desires. Having some material desires and moving towards fulfilling them is a good thing, better than leading a life of complete inactivity or just um, the life of a snake, or who's just sleeping all the time in a hole with no objectives, no goals, nothing to look forward to in one's life. So and that's it. The rest of the chapter adds just more clarity and description. So if one can understand this, then one has understood what the three gunas or the three modes are. So this is sort of the verses number 9 and 10 are describing the essence of how the three modes work. So I'll read 14.9 translation. O son of Bharat, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness. So we see here that there is the conditioning or the binding is being described, and to happiness, to fruitive action, and to ignorance in the three modes. 4.10 goes on to say, sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent. So this is the dynamic nature of the three modes within a person. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance. So again, the dominance or the predominance of one over the other two. And at other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. So that is 14.9 and 10. So in mode of goodness, once again, so I want to bring out another point, especially for today's world or in Kaliyuga. And Kaliyuga, I don't mean like, the more this is sort of like a free fall right now. Kaliyuga started off very slowly, but now we are almost in a free fall where things are devolving very fast. And one is in Sattva Guna, one is bound to or conditioned to that sense of feeling good, long-term good, not the feeling good by taking drugs or feeling good by defeating others, by achieving victory, but being the feeling good by mode of goodness in a moral sense, feeling good by giving up material desires. That is what one gets attached to or bound to. And one always wants that, looks for that in all situations. Now, in today's world, given the bad association that we are in, it is a very unstable state. When we have very good association around us, now association just doesn't mean people. Like I gave that example of the billboard, is also association. All the storefronts, all the kinds of things that are shown to us on television, what we should like and should not like, the extreme focus on material objects, the latest fashion, the latest way to speak, the latest way to treat people, is all devolving. So with all that association makes this state of constantly feeling good in the in the mode of goodness sense is highly unstable, because association attracts us towards, we get attracted, we let go we give our mind to such association. Then something happens and some difficult situation comes, or the association is very strong, bad association is very strong, and one continues to say that I must remain happy. Even that happiness goal changes from being actually happy to some object which brought happiness to the person, or some feeling or some emotion or situation that brought happiness. One gets attached to a material object which was the cause, the intermediate cause, and one gets attached to that, saying, oh, if I get that object, I will get the higher happiness. Then it becomes about the object. So one tries to obtain the object. That passion sets in, and with a feeling that this will give me happiness that I was getting before. So one changes the goal without knowing many times. And it slowly devolves into mode of passion. One becomes addicted to that sense object. Not the state of being, but the sense object. And that sense object, it could be an actual object, a physical object, or something else, like a position of power, something material which is below the mode of goodness, which gratifies our senses. Then there is greed for that, for obtaining that sense gratification at any cost. Then you're willing to pay higher and higher cost. Now your ROI equation, more from the being tilted towards the R, the return, is being tilted towards the I side. You're willing to put more and more investment to get same or lower return. At any cost, you are willing to pay higher and higher cost. And at some point, that cost turns into from legal to illegal, or criminal or sinful action. And it devolves into a mode of ignorance, even to the extent of self-destruction, violence, destroying others, and self-destruction. And this is not unusual. It is seen often in the world around us. You just have to look and analyze carefully. And that is why and this is what historians do well, and even authors or literary authors do very well. And who is one of the greatest literary authors of the Western world in all of history?
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare, very nice. He's considered, one of the greatest, persons who brought out human character. And I have read this play called Macbeth. It was like a 2-year study in my, I think, 9th or 10th or 11th and 12th grades. Like almost like Bhagavad Gita, we had to memorize many portions and do a whole lot of analysis and everything. It was like a Bhakti Shastri we did on, I think, 4 or 5 such books. So anyway, Macbeth very masterfully shows this, that he was a very nice person in the beginning and always was very dedicated to his country, willing to serve with no personal motive. He had no ambitions, nothing. All that was good till he got into bad association. Bad association of whom?
The witch first, and I think his wife later kind of like encouraged him to follow up with what she said.
Mainly his wife, Lady Macbeth. Yes, there were the witches, but he decided to go. But I don't think I can't remember now. It's like 35 years. The play starts with the witches, but he doesn't go to them. Anyway, I can't remember. We can see it. I may be completely off. When shall we three meet again, in thunder, lightning, or in rain? That's how it starts. And whole, I had memorized half of the play. What was I saying? Yes, Lady Macbeth. So that was and he really took that association. First, he just shunned her off, but then he began to ponder over it. Maybe what she's saying makes sense. I should be the king. And so then he decides to kill the king. Duncan was his name, I think. And he becomes the king. And and then I must stay the king. And then what happens? Somebody else figures out that he killed the king, his general, other general, his friend. His name was Banquo, I think, or something like that. He figures out. And then he has to kill him. I think he kills his son also later, both. Or no, not his son. I Macduff or something. I forget the whole thing. But you can see there's that whole devolution that occurs. And then he becomes more evil than his own wife, who was the main evil person in the play. He becomes more evil than her. And then he goes into this complete state of delusion and devolvement. He goes to the witches and he overpowers them more or less to tell him, he forces them to tell him the future and things like that. It's a very dark situation that he gets into. And so that is the stage of self-destruction. Of course, he was killed by someone else. He does not commit suicide. He's killed in a sword fight or something like that by
I think Macduff kills him, Prabhuji, because he was the one. I think the witches said कि वो C-section say or something, that he'd be killed by someone who's not a man, and this guy was like born from C. Something, it was like that, I think. So it was Macduff, I think, who kills him.
Is he the son of Banquo or the nephew or something? Or he ends up killing both Banquo and his son, which is very dark. A very, very dark chapter in his, that strong hankering to stay in power at any cost. So one goes completely into the darkness. Again, I'm talking a lot about fiction here, but another very strong example of this is Darth Vader in the trilogy, the Star Wars movie. That whole thing is very nicely shown, how he devolves from being a Jedi who's in the mode of goodness to being a sort of a Sith Lord who's almost in, not almost, but fully in the mode of ignorance, where he even kills small children. So we see this, and we see this in lives all around. Those literatures and fiction just magnify what exists around us. So that is giving a sense of how the conditioning completely overpowers us. We don't remain ourselves. We simply become a product of our conditioning. And the conditioning begins to become stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, the important point to remember here is, just like the conditioning is making us go in one direction, we have the power to reverse it by trying to condition ourselves in the other direction. So it is completely reversible. That is what we must understand. So somebody from mode of passion can go into mode of goodness by reversing the entire process, by getting into association of people in the mode of goodness, and by investing, like we invest to go down, we increase our investment in the mode of goodness and go up. So that is, and the best way to do that is the process of bhakti. That's how the chapter will end. But that is another main point to capture. So 14.10 was simply saying that these three modes are like mixed with each other to give a certain kind of behavior at a certain time to a certain person. So that's how we get all these variations of behaviors across persons in the world, and within a person also, from various time to time to time. And you may see people, oh, 10 years ago he was like this, now he's like this. So they may have made some investment in the wrong direction or in the right direction. And that's how we perceive people change over time. So all this is at play in the domain of these three modes. So this process of constant conditioning is happening. It causes the constant process. The process of conditioning is going on all the time. And it keeps on repeating. So that is the essence of the three modes. Now we will simply go through the more detailed verses which explain the workings of the modes. So 11 to 13. What is the conditioning that is caused? So mode of goodness, the conditioning it causes is knowledge or jnana. Now, this is not knowledge about mathematics or physics, but this is that kind of jnana, which is the jnana which helps us to understand how the world works, not how gravity works, but how people work. One is able to see that these are the modes at play. You are able to see, you are able to dissociate the person from the modes at the highest level. In fact, that will be the state at which one transcends. That will be verse number 14.19 and 20. But the ability to work things out in the proper perspective. One is able to see that, oh, why do I have this hankering? Why do I have this attachment? Is it really needed? Can I give it up? Is it a matter of extreme importance for me, or is it just a matter of some kind of a sense of instant gratification, impulse? Many of our things that we want are impulsive. If we manage to just forget it for 2 hours, we won't have that impulse again. It's just impulsive, and then we go take actions. So that ability to pause, calm down, and work things out in the mind. And most of the time, one may realize that I don't need it. I don't have to have this. And then you give up those material desires. So that knowledge is the conditioning, and one always takes the time to analyze and think through before taking actions. Passion causes the conditioning of great attachment. one continues to have stronger and stronger and stronger attachment that needs to be fulfilled immediately. That is the hankering. I need it, and I need it now. Instant. And for that, you are willing to give any price, pay any cost. That is intense endeavor, it's called. But you're willing to pay any price for it. And tamas, or mode of ignorance, is simply madness, craziness. One is ready to not just pay a price, without paying a price, one is able to somehow extract it. If nothing works, take some drugs and have an illusion of happiness or an illusion of victory, an illusion that you have achieved what you wanted to achieve. It's like, going into a virtual reality. So take drugs and become sort of virtually happy till the effect of the drug goes away, and then you have to take more and more and more. So that is 11 to 13. So I'll read the translations by Srila Prabhupada. 11, the manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. 12, O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, and intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop. So that is mode of passion. And mode of ignorance, when there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia means inertia to perform action, laziness, basically. Madness and illusion are manifested. So illusion, you try to create a sense of accomplishment in a false way. So then there is more about the destinations obtained from in the next 5 verses, 14 to 18. And the destinations are the higher planets, middle planets, and lower planets. In mode of goodness, you go to higher planets. Mode of passion, you stay at the middle planets where the passionate people reside, and lower planets in the mode of ignorance. Now, this is not absolute. It is certainly possible. There are all these planetary systems. There is Swarga, there is Naraka, and all that. And then there is the earthly planets, etc. But also relative. Even on Earth, it may be possible to have a life of purity and knowledge. Even on Earth, it is possible to have a life of madness and illusion and ignorance. So one may be born even on the Earth planet. One could certainly go lower. That depends on the amount of conditioning that one has been entangled in, that's as to how low he will fall. But it's not like one who is, again, this is not just, these are not digital levels. They are analog. So depending on how much conditioned, if one is extremely, extremely conditioned in the mode of ignorance, one may go to the lower planets, or one may become an animal on this planet as well. So in that sense, it is relative. In the mode of goodness, one may take birth in a family of where, he gets to go further in the mode of goodness. So this is relative. So higher planets, and the attributes are purity and knowledge. Middle planets, the attributes are greed and misery. It may begin with some kind of temporary enjoyment, but very soon it leads to misery because the expectations rise and rise and rise, and the results are simply not able to keep up. Just like in the case of Macbeth. It was, just miserable. Yeah. Anyway, and lower planets, ignorance, madness, and illusion. So 14 to 18. So I will read the translations again. 14. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. 15. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. Moodha yonishu. So Moodha yonishu is animal kingdom, or maybe even humans who are Moodha. So animalistic people, or people with animalistic propensity or tendency, that may also be taken as the understanding. 16. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness, but action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. 17. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance develop foolishness, madness, and illusion. And then 18, finally, those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to higher planets. The Sanskrit is urdhvam gacchanti. Urdh means they go upward. So it definitely means to higher planets, but within this planet itself, to a higher position also can be taken as the understanding. So in that sense, I said it's not absolute, but relative. Those in the mode of passion live on earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. So, adho gacchanti. Adho means go downward. So, urdhva and adha are opposites, upward and downward. So, that can also be taken as the understanding. Now, what time is it? It's already 6. Okay. So, let me just cover 2 more slides and we will end. Are there any questions by any chance? Now is the time to raise hands. Otherwise, I will close the discussion after these 2 slides.
Prabhuji, is the avoidant nature also part of the tamas cycle, because they are also procrastinating in order to avoid to do a certain choice so that they will be better?
Well, yeah, avoiding a choice. I mean, avoiding is a sort of vague word, but procrastination, laziness, if that is the meaning of your avoiding for something that needs to be done, you have a mortgage payment upcoming. You took up the decision to take mortgage, you signed the papers, you promised to pay every month. Now mortgage payment is coming up and you don't have money because you spent it all in gambling and drinking.
Yeah, like doing some other things besides doing the right choice that
doing
you
some things for sense gratification, not because you wanted to pay for your food or health, but let's say you wasted the money and now that time comes the time for mortgage and you want to avoid the collector, so you don't pick up his phone, you don't answer his letters, and you just completely try to save your face. Yes, that is mode of ignorance.
Okay, thank you.
Instead of saying that, okay, this is where I am, what do you want me to do? I'm willing to work hard, I want to get out of this situation, whatever it is. So avoidance, yes. And a very, very last level, if manifestation of that is drugs. Just forget the problem. Assume that the problem doesn't exist. Okay. Yes. Krishna Murari Prabhu.
Prabhuji, you said, if I understood you correctly, that passion, immediate gratification, person will do anything. So passionate person, the solution would be giving knowledge of goodness so that he comes out of passion, or there is another remedy?
I'm not sure I understand. Passion means giving knowledge. So what
No. I'll repeat my question. I think I was quite fast. Guruji, passion, you said, as if I understood it correctly, that immediate gratification he wants to do at any cost. So if a passionate person has to be taken out of that mode, giving him knowledge in goodness would be a better remedy, or what would be the remedy for him to get out of passion and come to goodness or pure goodness?
So two things I just want to say. First of all, passion, meaning getting something at any cost, is each of these buckets, so to say, they are not really buckets, but it's like a sliding slope. So that's a very low level within the mode of passion itself to say, I want this at any cost.
Okay.
Which means gives a feeling that one is willing to commit even sinful activities at any cost.
Okay.
Like even bribery or whatever, or even, just kill the other guy. Okay, well, that goes into mode of ignorance. But anyway, so going to any extent is a very low level, or is on the lower side of the mode of passion, first of all. That does not define mode of passion. Mode of passion can be at other levels, work very, very hard. Maybe, in the completely legal way, many people work extremely hard. I mean, people like Elon Musk or Steve Jobs or these kind of people, come to mind as sort of the classical examples in the modern, probably they are doing something sinful or not, I don't know. But on the face of it, willing to pay very high costs. Now, to bring a person out, there are many, many things that can be done. One thing is certainly giving the knowledge of sharing the benefits, showing the advantages of this long-term happiness. We see that all over the internet. Prioritize relationships over, like in corporate culture, we call victory over 1,000 dead bodies. Yes, you completed one project successfully on time by shouting and yelling and all that, and you left the team completely demoralized. Now your next project will be at risk. So that is success, by leaving a trail of dead bodies. So you can show the person, see, this is the cost you had to pay for, making this project successful. But the company is not built on one project. It is built on a series of projects and a series of successes. So that is the giving the knowledge part to show the reality, or I would say, the long-term happiness, or show the long-term view to a person. We can call that as knowledge itself, as a way to bring them to the mode of goodness, to make them realize that they are in a state where the investment they are making, not just the investment on themselves, but the investment of, like, you just killed 1,000 people. They are all going to leave you the job now. Go look for other jobs. Now you have to hire fresh people. They have to be trained. Your next project is completely at risk at this point. So like that could be. There are multiple ways. I mean, that's a long discussion on how to educate someone, but to show them the long-term view and the benefits of that, and to avoid shortcuts. All these things can be shown to such a person.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you.
Yes, Shamlila Mataji, you had your hand raised for a while. Then
I did, Prabhuji, but you have to go early today. So should I ask now or next class? Okay. So Prabhuji, in 14.18, where you explained that those who are situated in mode of goodness, they gradually go upward. So this doesn't necessarily mean upward planets, but even within here. So does that mean gradations? Why is they going higher and higher within the mode of goodness, or are they going towards guna ateet, that side?
both. You go higher and higher in mode of goodness, and the mode of goodness at its highest level, there is guna ateet. So there is you can think of it like a boundary line of mode of goodness, and beyond that boundary line is guna ateet. So if you're going in this direction, at some point you will cross over the boundary and become guna ateet. So mode of goodness, at some point, becomes mode of or free of or transcend the modes. So yes, as you are going higher and higher in the mode of goodness, you are going towards guna ateet.
Right, Prabhuji. Sorry, just a quick follow-up. Can I ask? So what about people who are like altruists or something, have nothing to do with spirituality or religion, but just, altruists, just good people wanting to, do they ever also transcend towards that side, or do they just remain in the gradation of?
Very subtle. Yes, they do, or they definitely could. But it is very subtle. Altruist, it may not be visible what they are getting. But internally in their consciousness, they may be getting a lot. And that also has to be given up. Then one will transcend. Externally, to an external person, observer, it may appear that he's not taking anything. He has given up all expectations, all desires. He may not even want his name on the wall, or even on the fine print, he may not want the name. But does he want the name in his own heart? Does he want to die thinking what a great man he was? That's a big attachment. That's a big material desire. Even that should be given up. And that is when one becomes ateeta, which means that is the meaning of true nishkama. No desire, no material desire at all. Not even to have simply the recognition of one's own self. See how good a person I am.
Right. Ji Prabhuji.
So you cannot, in that sense, you cannot judge anyone. We do not have the technology to look in anyone's heart or mind.
Right. Ji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
So even that has to go away. And as you can see, that becomes the definition of nishkama karma.
Ji.
And we go right back to chapter 2 and 3 at that point. And that is certainly that is spiritual, or that begins to take one into the spiritual direction.
Ji.
So it is guna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yes, Ragatmika Mataji, Radvidya Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhuji, very quick one. I was just looking at my notes. So this sadhu sanga, you said either downward escalator or upward escalator. It's like moving up or down. Does it happen in the three modes only, or is it also for gunatit? Sanga.
Sanga is definitely also there at guna ateeta. Obvious, yes, 100%. I mean, even when one is liberated, or at the bhava and prema level, also there is sanga of devotees.
So sanga is the vehicle all through all the 9 stages.
Yes, sanga is there at all 9 stages. Then at some point, it becomes simply for relishment rather than as something that influences or conditions one. Like the 6 Goswamis, they were getting sanga of each other all the time. So that's also sanga. And it is not that if Rupa Goswami, let's say, didn't have the sanga of the remaining 5, he would devolve. Or the remaining 5 were helping him to keep him at the level where he was. No, it is purely at that. There's no chance of them. The sanga is not to nourish their modes at all, because they are already ateeta. But the sanga is there. Definitely the sanga is there for relishment. Is that your question, or was that your question?
No. I was just contemplating getting that sanga is so difficult, and it is the only vehicle up or down. Down is easier to get, but upward sanga is very...
In today's times, it is very hard. It was not that, and it is still available in smaller and smaller and smaller quantity and places. And that is why those who are very serious need to look out for such sanga and get it. And that is why this is called Kaliyuga. We glorify Kaliyuga as if it is Satyuga. Dhyayate, what is it? Krite
Punsa.
Ayate Vishnum. Yeah, Kalautad Harikirtanad. We or Kaler Dosha Nidhe Rajan Eko Asti Mahan Gunaha. We sometimes forget the fact that Kaliyuga has, is full of problems. We think Kaliyuga means the best. And all these verses where even the demigods want to take birth in Kaliyuga, they are for the glorification of the one good thing about Kaliyuga. We should not forget how problematic this Kaliyuga is. It is full of this kind of problem. There is no association.
Yeah.
So it is very, very problematic. Okay. Yes, Ram Prabhu. You are muted.
I can ask the question next time if it is too late.
Last question. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So when you say altruistic, right? One doesn't even have to feel good that he has done something good. I mean, is that the mode in which he has to be? Like doing an altruistic work, not telling anybody, but at the same time should not even feel happy that he has done something nice?
Feeling of happiness is there, but one is not attached to that feeling, or one is not doing it for that reason and constantly salivating on it. Where is the consciousness is what matters. There is always a motivation. So you cannot analyze this situation theoretically. Write out and then think about what motivated you to do something. So it is very experiential and very personal. So we cannot analyze it. Hey, what is Bill Gates going through when he is spending 99% of his wealth on Bill Gates Foundation and creating vaccines and all that, or whatever, all these altruistic people, Mother Teresa and all. Nobody has analyzed I have great regard for Mother Teresa and all, but all I'm saying is nobody has gone in the heart and seen.
Right, but let's say, let's say just my example, right? If I do something artistic work, I should not do that even for the sake of making myself feel good that I did that artistic work.
Yeah, that feel good word is a little, I'll say another thing. Okay, that feel good can be interpreted in many. Okay, so it should not be done for you to feel proud or to have a sense of pride is the best word, that I did it. See, I'm a good person, or feeling proud about doing that.
So you should not get that feeling. You just feel happy, but not proud about it.
Feel happy. I don't know what feel happy means. Feel happy, we'll keep that aside. The feeling of happiness may come, but being attached to that feeling or thinking that I did it, that is the main thing. And that is the meaning of verse number 14.19, that when one properly sees that in all activities there is no performer at work other than the modes. So feeling that I did it should not be there.
Yeah, that's a very hard state to be in.
That's what may make you guna ateeta.
Right.
No wonder we are all not in the highest state of mode of goodness.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. All right. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.